Nation of Fitin10, welcome to day 54. And yesterday I talked about sugar alcohols and essentially that they're not alcohol as in ethanol, right? It's not the type of alcohol that makes us drunk. These are essentially very similar to sugar molecules, but they've got multiple hydroxyl groups on them. So basically just means an extra oxygen and hydrogen group. Which makes me maybe sound smart, but that's probably the extent of my knowledge to it. So they're very similar to sugar, and the reason I say this is because this is obviously what gives them their sugar like sweetness. Now, one thing that was interesting to note that I didn't mention in the video was that they have a range of different calorie amounts. So for example, if you look at something like xylitol or sorbitol, they're in that 2.4 to 2.6 calories per gram. If you look at something like erythritol, it's actually 0.21 calories per gram. And actually the interesting thing with erythritol is that it apparently just gets excreted out. So it doesn't get broken down at all. So that's something that's interesting to note. There's some other ones here that that we don't typically see in food, so I won't mention those. But we've got things like mannitol, which we tend to see. This is 1.6 grams per calorie, and 1.6 calories per gram. And also, when we look at things like, what's another one that I want to look at here? I think I mentioned them all actually. Already talked about sorbitol, xylitol. Yeah, so all the ones that you typically find in foods, they are lower calorie. Now they're only absorbed, with the exception of erythritol, they're only absorbed partially through the small intestine, and they tend to, on average, get absorbed by about 50% of the rate at which a typical sugar would. So they're going to. The small effect they have on blood sugar is even going to be lessened by the fact that they get absorbed at half the rate of a sugar. So some interesting things to note. Okay, today I want to talk to you guys about blood pressure. So what are some ways we can lower blood pressure? So let's talk about that. So here are approximately a dozen things that will help you to lower your blood pressure. One, lower your body fat levels, specifically body fat levels. Lowering your body fat levels will have the greatest effect on decreasing your blood pressure. And I think it's something like for every 10 pounds of fat, you lose about, on average, I think 15 points off your blood pressure, at least off your systolic, the upper number. Exercise regularly. Get lots of potassium, bananas, salmon, yogurt, oranges. These are all foods that are high in potassium. Spinach as well. Reduce caffeine intake. That's kind of obvious. Caffeine is a vasoconstrictor, so it's going to close your veins, your arteries. Avoid stress and engage in activities that help to alleviate stress. I guess that's kind of obvious. Eat high protein. Why high protein? Well, really, I guess we could be more specific. Eat lots of arginine. Arginine is a vasodilator, so it's going to expand, essentially it's going to expand your vasculature. Eat high fiber. Consume fish oil. Fish oil lowers the viscosity of your blood, so it thins your blood. It also improves blood vessel elasticity. Consumed aged garlic and berberine. Supplement with magnesium. Eat foods that are high in polyphenols. Again, polyphenols help to dilate the blood vessels. Berries and dark chocolate will help with this. And avoid alcohol. Alcohol increases the amount of calcification to your arteries. All right, so they're going to harden your arteries essentially. All right, and we want those arteries to be nice and supple. We want them to be able to constrict and dilate on demand. Okay, so there are how many did I give here? There's a dozen ways to lower your blood pressure. All right, let's get the message of the day. On this day 54, in order to see change, you have to will the change. You have to will the change. And so we have to be consistent with this as well, right? That's all part of willing the change, not some of it. But basically, we need to be, we need to be on the ball 95% of the time, essentially. All right? It's not what we do here and there that makes a difference. It's what we do on a consistent basis. Okay, in order to see the change, you have to really make it happen. And the reason why I give you those 3 main pillars in the challenge, the cardio, the weights, and the food aspect, is because those are the 3 things that are really, really going to make change. There's all kinds of little things that might do a 1% here, 1% there. But the 3 things I give you are the major pillars. They are the 97% of what's going to really make change. Okay, and not just to body fat loss, but to your overall health. Okay, we've got to think about our longevity, especially those of you who have children and young children. Okay, positive energy, positive vibes, believe in yourself, for the love of God, give some gratitude. We have got 16 days to go. 16 days to go. A lot can still happen in this last 20+%, 21, 22% left in the challenge, 23, 24%, whatever. A lot can still happen, so let's make it happen and let's will that change. Keep going and sprint right past the finish line. See you guys.